Hey, I'm Jim.
I'm Hollywood, and this is
The Smoked Debrief.
We got a special guest today. We'll be introducing him in just a minute. But first, let's open up this Hooten Young box we got this week.
All right.
Jim and I joined the Hooten Young every 2 months box club. And
You want me to open it?
yeah, this is the second box we've got. And it comes with 4 different cigars. And I think there's about 10 cigars in there altogether. The From America with Love cigar, the Late Arrival Club cigar, Operator, and an Alpine Torch. Today, Jim and I are going to smoke, well, a Valentine Bombshell from America with Love. Made to seduce the senses. I don't know if Jim is young enough to be seduced anymore. And Salute the Bold, a jaw-dropping dark San Andreas wrapper, hugs aged Nicaraguan binder and filler from Elite Farmers, blended for deep sweetness and commanding balance. Inspired by rich chocolate and classic pinup nose art. Well, as a former Air Force aviator,
Billy, you gonna smoke?
the classic nose art is perfect for me. It's pure romance with a rebellious edge. Box pressed 60 ring gauge bombshell with waves of cocoa, espresso, dark sweetness, and warm spice. Built to drop hearts,
Dark sweetness.
love at first light. So what else is in that box, Jim? Besides cigars?
What else we got? Let's see. We got a little. Is this a cutter or another lighter? Ooh.
Yeah, don't be looking at that too good. You've got your own, but
I know.
it's getting delivered late because you live in the middle of nowhere. Does it say Hooten and Young on it?
Pretty nice. It does.
Excellent.
Hooten Young.
Is there anything else in that box?
I'm sure there is.
So HootenandYoung.com if you're interested in Hooten Young cigars.
And whiskey.
Jim and I pretty much love them.
Yeah.
This is a very big variety, though, of the other cigars that are in this box. And we'll smoke those over the next few weeks. And
That's it.
okay, cigars and a cutter.
A cutter.
All right,
A
buddy.
nice cutter, not just a.
Not just
generic.
a typical Jim Young laying around the studio cutter, huh?
What are you talking about? See that fancy cutter we got right there?
Yeah, but I never get. I have to use this ridiculous gas station cutter.
That's your D-cut. There's your stogie.
Thank you, buddy.
Billy's not going to
Look.
smoke.
I do enjoy him on the golf course. I'm dealing with a little sinus issue right now, so
That's
I'm
fine.
not. I'm
That's
gonna.
fine.
I'm gonna leave them alone. But y'all enjoy. They sound rather.
I mean, this sounds interesting. This Valentine's Day bombshell. Did you do anything for your sweetie, Jim? Or are you just your love's enough?
I asked her to be my Valentine this morning.
You did? What'd she say?
She said yes.
She said, I'll think about it.
Of course. You know what she said.
I got to admit, she does like you, and who knows why.
Yeah.
You got, what's hanging on the edge of your cigar there, buddy?
Not a clean cut.
There you go. I'll take that lighter when you're in. But this is a nice box, right? All these different cigars?
Yeah. All right.
Oh, you just gave me this because you don't know how to work this guy.
So this
I
is
was actually going to use it.
so was this a club y'all were in to get these cigars?
No, well, Hooten Young has this. What do they call that club? The
First tier operators club.
Yeah, first tier operators.
Sweet.
You know, Hooten Young, Norm Hooten is Black Hawk Down guy.
Okay.
Did you see the movie Black Hawk Down?
I did. Yes, sir.
He's the
Several
Delta.
times.
He's the Delta guy.
Okay.
Yeah, Eric Banya played him in the movie, but he's Delta Force, just and super cool guy.
Right.
And the Young part is some rich dude, I guess.
That's right. Some rich dude. That's
You had
right.
to back them.
And
Huh?
they're they've got all kinds of different whiskeys,
Get out of here.
and their regular whiskey. I think we got a bottle over there, the white label.
17 year, right?
Yeah, I think it is 125 proof.
All right, you need this, Jim?
And it is no, I'm good.
You good?
It
You got
is.
one?
It is delicious.
Nice.
And
15 year.
their cigars. I mean, we haven't had any bad ones. We went to Anstead Tobacco Shop in Fayetteville to meet Norm Hooten.
Right.
And they were premiering the Jack Carr, the author.
Right.
They were premiering his line of cigars, and damn, they're good too.
Wow.
It's so good, and they even have a over there. The other bottle is the Jack Carr edition, Newton Young.
Wow, that's awesome.
And, they got this at our ABC stores here.
Do they?
Yeah, that's 16 year.
That's $175, isn't it?
No, it was 130, 140.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
But I got to tell you, I'm not a bourbon guy or whiskey guy. I'm a rum guy. Hooten Young's whiskey is amazing, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, it's really good.
Outstanding.
And you're going to love this cigar, buddy. It's like a chocolate bar.
All
It's
right.
got, I can smell the flavors in it.
All right, we're getting a little hot in here.
I'm warm, but I'm dressed. I'm got my long
Okay,
sleeves on.
I'm good.
Okay.
You can kill it if you want. You can do whatever you want.
Let me cut it down.
You'll just have to get back up and turn it back on.
No, I'm not gonna cut it off.
I probably should have brought my water in, but I'm good. I can get through this. So Hollywood, you an Alamance County guy?
No, sir.
Where are you from?
I'm from West Texas.
I hear Texas, man.
Do we have a bottle of water for him?
Yes.
I could have brought my water.
It's okay.
in the
No,
truck,
it's all right.
brother. West, how you get to Alamance County, North Carolina? I know we're recording. I hope this ain't live.
No, this is great. No, this is good. When I got out of the military, I got into the movie business.
Yeah.
I lived in L.A. from 95 to 2010.
Okay.
I moved to Vegas for 4 years.
Coors Light, bottled water.
And then the movie business took off in Atlanta. I got called to do a TV series in Atlanta called Being Mary Jane. I did that for a year, and I just pretty much stayed in Atlanta because it was crazy busy. And I was there until 2020, till COVID, and then in March of 2020, the movie business shut down. I was on the last movie that was shooting. We were the last one to shut down. And my buddy had just started a production company, a marketing company in Chapel Hill. Another veteran friend of mine, Nick Palmisano. And so I came up here and started helping him put a crew together, teaching guys how to shoot, how to light, how to direct. And then when the movie business started to back up, I went back and did a couple of movies in Atlanta. But there was the strike. Or if you remember, there was a movie strike around 22 or 23.
Yep, I do.
So there was no work. So I was at the point that I had to work 400 hours every half to keep my medical benefits going in the union.
Right.
And I reached the point where I didn't have that and I was going to lose my benefits, so I just retired.
I don't blame you. It's like me.
And then I just stayed up here working with Nick with his production company. And that's how I ended up here. And then
You might know Nick. He had a company called Ranger Up.
T-shirt
They
company.
did T-shirts
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. He just bought them back.
Okay.
And
I know that name. I don't know if I've ever met him, but I knew the
most
name.
people know
And,
those
yeah.
shirts.
Mm-hmm.
One day, this client, we did some commercials for this client called Salvation Coffee Company, and I met this wild, crazy guy.
That's not where we
named
met.
Jim Young. It's
That's not where we met. No, you guys were interviewing the weapon snatcher, John Ruge.
Yeah,
at
but
the- at the range.
I don't remember you then. You were just some guy
I
hanging
know
on.
you were some jerk to
Some-
everybody. Quiet
You
on
were
the
just
sub.
some hero fucker, wanted to meet the hero of Portland. And just so you know, the opinions of Jim Young and I do not represent the opinions
No, not
of
at
the
all.
possible future sheriff of Alamance County.
Oh, you guys are a hoot. I can see where this is going.
Yeah,
What do you think?
Oh, I like it. It's good.
It's crazy good.
Yeah. So let's get into it. I know Billy's probably got a lot of things going on today. He was just at Salvation Coffee, and the house was
great.
packed.
It was great turnout.
And I have not heard a bad thing about you. It's everybody seems to like you. They seem to enjoy talking to you.
And Jim has heard bad things about everybody, so that's saying something.
Well, he just hadn't talked to my wife yet. So. He just hadn't talked to the wife yet.
But I'm gonna. We have some questions, so I'm gonna just go ahead and we'll get started with those, and then you can elaborate as much as you want.
Yep.
And just we're just here so we can inform the public.
Let's ask about his background and why he decided to run for sheriff first.
There you go.
There where you want to go?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so, man, as y'all know, I am Billy Clayton. I have been retired 9 years from the North Carolina State Highway Patrol. I was blessed enough to retire as the, I don't like to say this, I'm not braggadocious, but I did make it to the deputy commander rank, lieutenant colonel, which put me as the second ranking officer in the state behind the colonel.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't of anything I did on my own. You know, people that have been in, whether you've been in the military or whether you worked in public safety or public service or any business, your success comes from the people around you, being in the right position at the right time. And hey, it's timing. It's all about timing, guys.
Right.
But you got to be prepared. But at the end of the day, so I rose up through that rank and was very blessed to do some good things for the working men and women of the State Highway Patrol, and was able to make some good deliverables to the citizens of the state. Retired when the administration changed. My last job, I was appointed by Governor Pat McCrory in 2013. When the new governor came in, he wanted to bring his own staff, so I retired in 2017. And at that time, I actually wound up at the Graham Police Department as a part-time employee, maintaining certifications and kind of getting reacclimated to local law enforcement. Been in Alamance County for about 40 years now with my Elon time. And Alamance County has raised me up. I was born in Person County, Roxborough, North Carolina, born there. Lived my first 18 years there, but Alamance County is home.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at. So what you see is what you get. That's enough about me. Now, why did I decide to run for sheriff? Is that the question, Jim?
Yeah.
That question is this, man. I have sat back and I've watched public safety. I got nothing against the current sheriff. I feel like, I honor that past. I look at the good things that's been done and I say, what can we do to get better? At the end of the day, next 10 or 15 years is what matters.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we get so stagnant where we're at, not just in law enforcement or public service, that we just are looking to maintain a status quo. In fact, several times during this campaign, I've had people say, well, if it ain't broke, we're not looking to fix it. I said, well, change is inevitable, and we either manage it and grow with it, or it's going to take us over.
Yeah.
So when I started looking at this thing, I felt like we had a whole lot of good that we could build off of that's there now, and we need to plan for the next 10 or 15 years in our communities. Public safety, in my mind, y'all both military guys. The first, I think, responsibility of government is keep your citizens safe. We do that through a strong military, but you got to do it at the home front with a strong public safety system.
Yeah.
Without that foundation, everything else fails, gentlemen. So public safety is my heart, it's my calling, and I'm laying myself out there to prepare Alamance County for the next 10 to 15 years. I'm sure some of your questions will hit some things in my platform, and we will hit them, and we will take off with them.
Well, one of the things, like you said about stagnation is if you get stagnant, if you're not paying attention to the changes, what's moving forward, then gearing back up once you realize you're behind is really difficult to do.
You're behind the 8 ball.
Right.
And I feel like we're at a critical juncture, in my opinion, now that we are getting close to getting behind the 8 ball on several fronts. We're going to talk about accreditation today. We're going to talk about working towards industry best standards, because at the end of the day, you have got to, if you're going to be the best, you've got to hold yourself accountable to the best standards that's out there. And look, they're there. We know them. We identify with them. Let's make sure we hold ourselves to it.
Right.
I believe in it.
That one of I'm not. Of course, we're not going to ask all these questions.
You ask anything you want to, man. I'm an open book.
I think it was a day or 2 days ago we had someone die in custody.
Okay. Yeah.
At the jail.
Yeah, I read it.
What are your plans for inmate safety as well as your staff safety?
Okay.
If you get in there.
Okay, so to that in custody death is what they refer to that as. I know very little about that other than what the general public knows. I have not inquired. I know there's a process in place. It's being investigated. And unfortunately, I try not to be too critical of that because as sad as it is, those things happen, right? Yeah. We see a lot of commercials on different races around the state that people get beat up about these in custody deaths. Of course, we work in a high liability profession. You've always got to manage that liability, which comes back to standards. But what would I do, back to your question? Don't ever let me give you a politician answer, by the way. Hold me accountable. What I would do that. First of all, we've got to address staffing levels. And I will tell you, I don't have the magic answer for that. That is a problem that public safety as a whole is having a hard time finding good people to step into these roles.
Yeah.
So you got to be innovative. So to keep the detention people that are held in detention safe, but first keep the officers and the deputies safe that work back there. We've got to get our staffing levels up, and we've got to make it attractive for people to do this work. You've got to emulate, man, what you stand for, why you stand for it. It comes down to leadership, and I believe strongly in that too. But you've also got to have pretty good, strong benefit packages. You've got to be able to recruit the best of the best. And listen, that detention job is one that often gets underestimated, because do you want to get locked up with inmates every night and every day? I don't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the people that work there are some of the best we have. So how do we find new ones? Man, you've got to go out there. You've got to actively recruit them. You've got to tell them what you have to offer, not just in the benefit package, but what you have to offer them in leadership. I think the way you do that is, man, you tell them, say, I'm going to train you. I'm going to give you the best training, not just at the beginning, but all through your career. I'm going to help you develop as a person, which is going to make you a better employee. I'm big in training. I'm big into officer safety. So that'll be my first and foremost mandate is, man, make sure they have the tools they need, the training they need to keep them safe. Because if they're not safe, the people held in detention are not safe.
I imagine that's like being a jailer and working, in the jail and even, prison systems.
Yep.
The emotional, not just the stress, the physical stress, the emotional stress that even just from what they see, because you're seeing not the majority of the prisoners, but some of them that's the worst of the worst. I mean, that's the worst of society,
right?
And I can only imagine the stress that our local guys. I mean, because some of this, you got some people, some politicians, that want to get elected in North Carolina. They're all about defunding the police. They don't believe in that, and that's a huge no in my book, because you've got to have that law and order.
Well, public safety, like we just mentioned earlier, that's the foundation, man. That's the foundation of what we do. That's what your government owes you, in my opinion. That's what you pay your taxes for. Without the good public safety foundation, businesses don't strive, schools don't succeed, communities just cannot thrive. The mental stress on these people, I will speak to that too. The front line, these detention officers that work in Alamance County and every local jail around our state, it does take an emotional toll, because not only are they dealing with sometimes the worst of the worst, they're dealing with people at their worst point in life. Some of these people come in that jail are not bad people. They've made a bad mistake.
And some of them feel like they got nothing else to lose.
Got nothing else to lose. That's right. And then you get in there. We're also expecting not only those detention officers, but deputies as a whole. They're dealing with a lot of mental health folks. They're dealing with people with addictions. And, there's some good things that are in place with diversion and identifying that diversion, which is why it's critical that we do identify and try to recruit the best of the best. Because while I don't expect a detention officer or a deputy to be a psychologist or to be a counselor, you do expect them to recognize what they're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
They've got to recognize that, is this the hardcore criminal, or is this a one-time person that made a mistake? Am I dealing with an addiction issue? Am I dealing with a mental health issue? And hopefully, when they make that identification, they know what resources they have in place to take care of that person's needs.
Yeah, I liked what you said about how you have to make the position attractive and rewarding, because that's a tough position, being a jailer.
It is.
And it's not an exciting position. You know what I mean? It's not glamorous. It's not. But everybody has to do it, right?
Somebody's got to.
But do all deputies start as jailers?
No, I don't think so. No, a lot
of
them.
So then you have to make it so that it's attractive, and
that's right.
Make it so that maybe there's a reward for becoming a jailer. Maybe there's some kind of advancement incentive or something like that if you spend 2 years as a jailer or something like that.
Well, the thing you got to be careful with incentives, and we tried this with bonuses for new hires.
Okay.
For every good intention and every good program you put in place to attract that quality personnel, what are you doing for your long-term employee? Because you will disenfranchise.
So you got to keep it even.
You will disenfranchise now.
Right.
But I'm all for incentives.
Right.
But I'm all for balance.
Right. And, that makes sense.
The bonuses that they gave, they had a critical hiring issue, as most agencies did recently. Burlington actually responded to theirs very well. They were able to get some good leadership in place that invested in their people. What's the number one resource? What's the number one resource in the military? Your men and women, right?
Yeah.
It's that front line, that infantryman on that front line.
Right.
I'm telling you.
That's right.
Hey, I promise you, if you don't take care of your number one resource first,
right,
you ain't gonna get anybody to come in the door.
Right,
You get
right.
them, you get your people happy, you give them what they need to succeed, and sometimes that is in pay. You got to give them a competitive rate, but you've also got to give them a benefit package. You got to let them see this is what you get for benefits. This is what you get. Maybe there are some benchmark incentives in your career once you hit certain benchmarks.
Right.
And then for those people that go behind that door as a detention officer, how do you set them apart without disenfranchising your whole crew? Like I said, I don't have a magic answer, but what I will tell you that nothing's off the table. And I think both of you guys being military guys, you probably didn't worry about your pay a lot, but you worried about the man or woman you followed. And if the man,
Yeah.
the man that was
absolutely.
leading you, you'd about lay it all down for that person and the people standing around.
And if
you.
they were horrible, you had
Right.
no time for them.
Right, but then the men and women you stood beside too meant something. I think that's what it is, and I think that's where you get, and that's where you can't get stagnant. Hollywood, that's where we can't get stagnant. So, question is, you got to go identify those people. You got to talk to the people that's already there, find out what's working, what's not working, what do they need to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And when you invest back in them, you're going to start seeing the recruit and retention get better. Problem is, it don't happen overnight.
No, not at all.
So, that's the challenge.
Do you know, Alamance County, because we're here at the 8540 where everything comes together.
Yes, sir.
And it's been said that we're like the trafficking hub, whether it's child sex predators, human trafficking, drugs, all that.
Yes.
And that's something that I do not envy what you want to get into, because that's insane. And it's been that way for years.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So it has been. So when 8540 merged, when 40 opened up, Alamance County truly became the central port of the state. Two interstates converged. You had an east-west interstate and a north-south interstate. They converged. It was a main thoroughfare. Where I was fortunate with the State Highway Patrol has the most robust criminal interdiction unit out there. Made some of the best drug cases around. Has interdicted. They're in the process of taking on this program that come out of Texas, your home state.
Right.
The interdiction for the protection of children. They're tagging that on to what's going on with like our Invictus program with human trafficking.
Yeah.
And so the state has taken that program. Several sheriff's departments in the state are getting on it. And I'm going to come back to your point about our hub here, is that we always have to remember that we talk about cartels. Cartels have been in Alamance County for years, well before my time, before Sheriff Johnson's time. They're here. They're always going to be here. How do you get proactive in dealing with them? But with those cartels, not only come drugs, it comes to human trafficking issue, whether it's sex trade, whether it's forced servitude, whatever it is. That leads to increase in violent property crimes and violent crimes against people. So it's really a true criminal nexus. Well, let's back that up. So you partner up and you tie these programs together, but Alamance County is a hub of that. What has happened and what I saw happening as I worked for the state and our interdiction units were kind of coming into focus on this because we had the partnerships with the feds. The criminals started realizing we were focusing on our interstate systems. So what do? We got US
Take
70.
the back roads.
That's right. But they're main thoroughfares, right? So they started focusing and moving their product, whatever that product was, on the back roads. It even comes down, you see it even in the commercial motor vehicle trade. Trucks try to get around way stations.
Right.
It's the same concept, but with a more serious crime. So they started seeing this happen. So we then started focusing on these cutoffs, these thoroughfares. And it's not just always a U.S. highway or an NC highway. It could be Snow Camp Road, a major thoroughfare south going to the southern part of our state. It could be Union Ridge Road, which leads all the way up into Caswell County, gets into Virginia. So they started realizing this. What you do at that point is you got to build a system, an intelligence system that's led by data, led by human intelligence, tied to the feds and the state, put all our resources together. And when you see those criminal nexuses moving their product in different ways, you're going to get the information on it. We've got to be not only ahead of them to be proactive, we've got to do a few things on technology. There's something out there in the state or in the nation, it's actually international. There's several different camera system platforms that tie you into a national database. Something happens in California today. They upload data off of a particular vehicle point of travel. If you're tied into that camera system, and like I said, there's several platforms out there. Flock has a great one. Once you buy into that system, it's not cost prohibitive. You leverage that technology. If that thing that happened in California 3 days ago that vehicle might show up in Pleasant Grove at
And it tracks the.
it hits it, and what does it do? It immediately notifies law enforcement in this, not just Alamance County, but the surrounding areas. We're missing the boat on that a little bit. There's several sheriff's departments in the nation that are tying into these camera systems, and that is putting our web out there that we're able to get in front of a lot of this trafficking. Alamance County is always going to be a hub. They're not going to always stick to the interstate system, but it is a quick way to get product in and out, whatever the product is. So we've got to be proactive, and we've got to start leveraging other technologies to that. So that's what I bring to the table, those contacts. You know, I've been trained by the FBI, I've been trained by the Secret Service. If you tie all that together, I have a network out there, and I've been fortunate enough to be exposed to it and know where to go get the answers to these questions.
I think the flock system, that's the one out of Georgia, isn't it, that company?
Yeah, I think they're out of Georgia, yes.
There was a thing about, okay, you're giving the patrolman a lot of access to information and has the potential to be abused.
Yep.
But I think there's safeguards in place to prevent that.
It is.
Because that was the one argument that was thrown against me.
Yep.
Thrown to me about that.
Right.
And then we were, just because I'm on the city council in Graham, we were discussing it. Right. And we were told that, there are safeguards to prevent that.
There are safeguards. And look, as an American citizen, you have an expectation to the right privacy. And I totally respect that. However, we also have to know that to be safe, we have to not infringe on rights, but there's certain information that has to be passed to the proper authorities. Yeah. And these systems today, they're building them out that they do have the safeguards in place so that they cannot be abused. And there's pretty severe sanctions if they do find a way around that. So it's incumbent upon our leaders to make sure that there's checks and balances in place that enhance those safeguards that the company gives you. Yeah. And that's what I feel comfortable about. I've been very fortunate to work with the law enforcement leaders within our county. And you've got the best of the best here, and they do a great job. And some of the brightest out there, we've got them right here in Alamance County. So we can feel good with that resource.
Can you give an example of a potential misuse?
Well, sharing information, take it. With social media today, you cannot broadcast this stuff out on Facebook, TikTok. What's the big TikTok? Everybody likes to do these videos on TikTok.
Right.
I'm not a TikTok guy. Yeah. So you cannot take and expose that data. And this is still, we have to remember, this is intelligence-led data.
Right.
So it's not technically proprietary, but it's sensitive, just like with, it's got a sensitive level, and it's law enforcement sensitive. And it's on a need-to-know, right-to-know basis.
Right. And
you have to enforce that at all costs.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want some officer that he gets mad at you or something.
That's right.
He's following you around reading your plate.
That's right.
Find out all this stuff about you.
Enters you in the system. So all of a sudden you're going take your wife out for dinner on Valentine's Day and you get stopped and spread out on a hood somewhere. So you can't do that. So.
Oh Lord, I used to want to. I thought about getting into law enforcement when I got out of the service, but it's like,
that's very frightening for everyone who's watched this show.
And
Hollywood, you think that'd be scary?
Yeah. So does anybody that's watched this show.
Now, I was raised up on Buford Pusser stories. So.
Oh Lord. But anyway, I think that's what's needed. Like I said, we've got to start looking at how we move forward, how we leverage, how we use technology to benefit us, and still maintain people's rights. And I think a lot of those questions are answered in the way we hold ourselves to a standard. There are different levels of standards out there. If you go to a hospital, hospitals are held to certain standards. Fire departments, firefighters, they meet certain standards. And we've got several different sets of standards out there for law enforcement that are truly industry-based, professional-based, and when you can say that you measure yourself against that and you let yourself be open to be evaluated by outside assessors to make sure you're doing the right thing, number one, it's going to ensure that these abuses are minimized and hopefully do not happen. It's going to ensure that you're doing the best you can to give your people what they need to do their job. You're also, by them being able to do their job and keeping them safe, you're keeping the public safe. And in the process, you're building some public trust. Let's be honest. Law enforcement and government in general, the public don't really trust us much anymore, do they?
Yeah.
We've been dealing with that. People talk about the George Floyd incident, right? That was a breakdown in law enforcement. I argue it was before then. It was the Ferguson, Missouri in 2014. I was still working for the state, and that thing reverberated across the nation about the issues that went on in Ferguson, Missouri in that shooting. Tragic incident all the way around. It ruined lives on both sides. But since that time, I've seen the trust erode. I sense it coming back.
Yeah.
I sense it coming back. I sense people, we're getting leaders in places in government, we're getting leaders in places in law enforcement, and I see them coming together and opening up that dialogue. But these standards will help assist that process.
Yeah. What about, I think it's been brought up as far as Alamance County body cams, the Sheriff's Department. I thought they had body cams.
So interestingly enough, they don't. Alamance County Sheriff's Department is the largest law enforcement agency within the Alamance County, and I think there's 7 police departments. So you got Gibsonville, Elon College, Elon University, Burlington, Graham, Haw River, and Mebane. 7 local municipalities within our county, okay? Alamance County Sheriff's Department being the largest, and Burlington Police Department being the second largest. Yeah, that has been a source of debate. I've heard what the sheriff has said, and I'm not critiquing him. I don't know what the roadblock or what caused us not to be in this position. What I can say, and I've talked to the sheriff about this personally, is as a leader, we can never be in this position again. You can.
Yeah.
What did you say earlier, Hollywood, about being behind the 8 ball?
Yeah.
We're behind the 8 ball on that one. That's the problem, and he's enjoying that cigar. You see?
Yeah, it's
that?
because
Well, this is a cigar show. Even though Jim doesn't smoke his cigar anymore, he just
What are you talking about?
he lets it go out. He puts it over there
It's
until it
not
goes
going
out.
It's not going out.
But this whole body cam issue, it does cause a source of concern. It's been a source of concern been brought to me by members of the public, and I've tried to ease that concern. I don't want to think there was anything nefarious. I think we did get behind the 8 ball. Maybe priorities got misaligned. If that is the case, that's fine. Let's fix it. Let's fix it quick. I reckon my biggest thing is that it is a public safety issue because we don't have them. Those cameras on the hills of Ferguson, Missouri, and George Floyd, the federal government threw money like crazy at state and local agencies.
Oh, they did.
They threw money at them in grants that you don't have to pay back. We missed that boat. Those cameras, the first wave of those cameras, let's be honest, the hardware for that system is not that overly expensive. I mean, the price tag is, it's the storage, it's the data. Y'all know, y'all work in this
We
thing.
know all about data storage.
You know all about that. So I reckon what concerns me is the first 4 to 7 years of that initial implementation should have been on the backs of our federal government working with their local law enforcement and the state agencies to get these cameras out. We missed that boat. And
So you didn't get that money?
No, well, I didn't.
Not you.
No, yeah.
The Sheriff's Department didn't get the money?
Not Sheriff's Department, local leaders. Somehow we missed that. Now, a lot of the local municipalities, they were smart enough to get in on it. Graham was very good getting ahead of it. Burlington, very good at getting ahead of it. Here again, not a critique. It's just we got to be better than that. We have got to take this as a learning lesson and move forward.
Well, do those, the body, which I'm sure there's probably some out there, but I don't know if all of them. But it would make sense that the body cameras have the capability to be integrated in with that flock setup.
They do, yeah. There are some platforms out there that they do, and I don't know if it's specifically flock, but there is. Hey, technology's scary.
Because I mean, wouldn't it? I mean, how cool it would be, especially, and I know that it's a lot more personnel and it's a lot of work, but like if someone, just like these shows you see on TV, you know, these science fiction,
right?
Wherever the soldier or the officer is going, there's somebody in an office monitoring all of them, and they can see what they can see. And if the camera, wherever that officer's at, and he encounters somebody, that thing could immediately say, this guy's a felon. He's got so many warrants out and everything. And they can radio, hey, and not tell, I mean, they can tell that officer, but that officer knows not to say anything or do anything. And then they immediately send backup.
That's exactly right. And that's a big officer safety piece, which keeps the public safe. Yeah, the technology is crazy scary, which is why we have got to stay ahead of it. And I think that's why, you know, that's another reason I got into this race. Like I said, with credit to the past and what we've been successful in, I know that moving forward, we got to be fast-paced. Yeah. We got to be ahead of it. We got to have new ideas, new thoughts, new strategies. I don't have all those strategies yet. I see some of them. And I think that's where you start building the team below you. the men and women down there, the sheriff's office has some of the most professional law enforcement and detention people out there. I've worked with them in the past. The talent is there. We've got to make sure that we tap into it, keep them moving at that pace, and giving them what they need in this technology.
Yeah.
But what this thing does, it can integrate. These systems integrate. Platforms are working together. Companies are acquiring each other right and left to put two different platforms together. So we'll be sitting here in 2 years talking, I hope, and we're going to see a whole nother piece to this thing come out.
Yeah,
Well, it's hard also from your position to know exactly what needs to be done until you're in there.
That's right.
You can speculate, but until you see what's really going on and how it's happening and how the interaction's happening between deputies and the technology, it's hard to just say, well, this is what I'm going to do until you're in there and actually working it.
Right, and I started seeing some of these fractures through conversations in the public. It started with the law. It started with some lawsuits, and here again, don't critique lawsuits because people, we work in a high liability profession. But you should expect me, as your elected sheriff, to be managing that liability to the best I can, which means I should be holding myself to a standard. But that's where I started noticing. I don't see it all from the inside because I'm on the outside looking in.
Right.
But I started seeing symptoms of the problems.
Right.
Okay, and people start talking. It starts with a conversation about my property tax, and why is my property tax going up? I was like, that ain't really a law enforcement issue. Well, yes, it is, because we're having to pay these lawsuits, or we're having to build a new building. And so you realize real quick that what's important to the public, they start tying it back to what you do.
Right.
Then it's your problem.
Yeah.
And you listen. And then you start putting the dots together. So then I realized, okay, we have had these lawsuits happen. Then we have this lawsuit, and they're saying, well, there should have been body cams here that would support positions support the position of the officer. Here again, I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong
Right.
from officer perspective. However, the public has to know and believe that you're doing the best you can do to protect them safety-wise, but also protect their wallet and giving them the best service possible at the best price possible, right?
Yeah.
And when most I don't know if it's most agencies have body cams and you don't, well, that doesn't give the public a lot of trust in you.
It does not. And so that's where standards come back in, Hollywood. I'm going to tell you. So if you look at we talked about them earlier, the law enforcement agencies in Alamance County, of all the law enforcement agencies, I've already said it's 7 local municipalities and a sheriff's office. Every one of those local municipalities are either accredited or in the stage of getting their initial accreditation, either through our state system or through CLIA, which is the Commission for Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies. That's an international standard.
Right.
The state standard is very good. It's really something that's lets you kind of lead into getting your agency where it needs to be. So it concerns me that we are not there yet, but I'm hoping on the heels of body cams, we're moving towards that.
Right.
And those standards will ensure that you have body cams because that's a standard that has to be met.
Right.
Yeah. I'm keeping it on the high tech thing. I'm sure you've seen the drones that the sheriff's department has.
Yes.
How do you feel about the drones and stuff?
Man, that's a tool you got to use.
I think they're cool as shit.
They are. Hey, you ought to go look at what Burlington does. So here again, this is where collaborative partnerships in the same field and with your community. But Burlington, on a hot call, they got drones on the roofs. They pop them up. The drone gets there before you get there. Hey, you guys, military guys, look what's going on the battlefield today.
Yeah. Dude,
you get eyes in the sky. Hey, are you
Anduril technology, that Lucky Palmer.
Yeah, it's crazy, is it not?
Oh, my Lord. That kid is, thank God, he loves America.
Yep, most definitely. But you have got to use that, but you've got to use it outside. You got to think outside the box. We've got to look at every available way to put that thing in action to get in front of whatever we're dealing with. You got to have criteria. You got to know what calls it's dispatching on. But, people got into this mindset. We're only going to use it to hunt for lost kids or lost elderly person. No, there's so much more to that technology.
Especially with the sensors, the heat, the thermal, all that.
The bottom line is it's about safety. Yeah. Using a drone is about safety.
And look, if you just imagine in a perfect world, like every third car had a drone, and that's a force multiplier,
right?
And at minimal expense when you consider the alternative.
That's right.
And you have they got one drone car, and he's like, okay, we got what going on, and he can pretty much launch wherever he's at and control it and handle everything, and they can see, okay, we got these people over here, and that, in my opinion, yes, it's expensive, but that's kind of a no-brainer.
Is it more expensive to invest in that and to keep your officer and your deputy safe?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the expense. See, that's the no-brainer for me, and that was always my mantra when we went to work. Every year I worked, our goal was to give our troopers the best we had to keep them alive, to get them home at night, so they could go out another day.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in that, then you're probably in the wrong line of work, and that's the side you cannot. Like I said, I can't. It's expensive, but it's manageable. And like I said, the alternative cost is so much more.
Oh, yeah.
You can't put a number on. But just like you said, you have them in cars. Burlington ties theirs to their real-time intelligence center. And, man, that thing gets the eyes in the sky quick. I mean, I sit there and I talk about it. I operate proactively looking at data and looking at intelligence. Extra eyes in the sky through that drone, that's intelligence, man.
Yeah.
That's seeing before you get there.
Yeah.
You don't round that corner because there's a guy sitting there with a sawed-off shotgun. I'm coming in an alternative way on him.
And even like high-speed pursuit or something like that, that's send the drone up, and they can be tagged. Whatever. I think they're working on. They have something where they can shoot a GPS tag.
So there is technology out there now. So we had the stop sticks, and right as I was retiring, stop sticks were for the last 5 years before I retired, maybe longer. Man, that was a big thing. You deflate their tires. Now they get close enough to them, they can shoot them with a tag. It attaches to the car. You back up off of it. Hopefully it takes the pressure off of the violator to put other people's lives in danger, and you know where that car is going.
Yeah.
And the whole time, the intelligence piece is being communicated out on where that car is tracking, and you're getting people in place from different angles.
I'm a licensed drone operator because I use it for filming.
Yeah.
But you can get a drone up, you can mark a vehicle, and the drone will follow that vehicle.
You can lock in on it.
Yeah, you can lock in on it. You can, and it does a follow, and it'll follow that vehicle where it's going.
But it's not in 4K. It won't follow in 4K.
Look, he said, "I'm gonna puff on." You need another cigar, Hollywood.
No, I'm good.
I'll let you finish Jim's over here if you would like.
Yeah, because it's embarrassing.
Oh, no.
Well, let me ask you this: you know drones,
right?
Battery life. How are they dealing with that?
The bigger the drone, the longer the battery life. So my drone will do 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then like once it gets within 11 minutes left, it'll come back to where I'm at.
Right.
So the industrial drones, but my drone's only this big.
Right.
The bigger drones, the heavy duty drones, they can stay up for a much longer time.
I knew they were getting better on it.
Well, don't the Burlington one, won't it come back and swap its own battery?
It will. Well, you need to ask them. I've been over there. I've seen a presentation on it. Very impressive.
But then you put up another drone, it takes over for that drone, and then the drone comes back.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they're swapping that all the time.
When Chief Neal, when he was talking to the council, and he's wanting a drone,
right?
And he was telling us the one that mounts on the roof. He said, and the question I asked was battery life. How long does this thing last? Mm-hmm. And he said, it will come back and land, swap its own battery, and go back out.
Yeah, that technology's there.
Okay, if they had 2 of those drones, you could have consistent monitoring of the entire
That's
city.
Exactly right.
That's right.
That would be awesome.
And there's
which is what they do in the military.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They put it, but a military drone's got, forever loader time. But when that is getting near the end of its time, they put another drone up, it goes out there, and they swap out, and the other one comes back.
Right. And, man, you've got to leverage that. And here again, technology's already in place. Burlington's using it. Graham gets one up and going. And you start having I'm really big on, too, the sharing of information amongst agencies. And they do pretty good at it. But that's got to be real time, too. That's got to be within a matter of seconds. And, and they're getting better at that. And they're working hard towards that end because that's how you make sure there's not a breakdown in the coverage piece.
Are there any surrounding counties where there's a bit of animosity between the sheriffs, and that kind of keeps the
sharing of information
kind of slows it down?
I can't think of anything specific on that, but I will tell you this. What I see and what concerns me, and this leads a little bit, I'll get a little bit off subject, and you'll hear it on some of my commercials. politics has no place in public safety. The sheriff is a political position. And when I was in Raleigh as deputy commander, that was a political position because I was appointed
You were
by the
appointed
governor.
by the governor.
Exactly. But what's my job is to keep the politics off the men and women that are delivering that service to the citizens they serve. You can never let politics trickle down. The perception now is that politics get involved. And that's to your point, Jim, that, man, what's going on in these neighboring counties? Is there a breakdown? I would hope there's not, and I would hope politics will not come into play, because I remind people every day, and you guys are probably more versed in it than I am. September 11th, 2001, the main breakdown there, if you went through all the after action, was that everybody had a piece of that pie, a piece of that information. Even DEA, CIA, FBI. I watched the whole debrief. We had a North Carolina Highway Patrolman stop one of those hijackers on 95 up in, I think it was Halifax County, maybe Nash County. Did a quick stop on him. I might have written him a warning ticket. It was in evidence. But everybody had a piece of the pie, but nobody was talking. So guess what? We could have probably averted the greatest disaster on our soil ever, an attack on our soil, had we not been holding information. It's all about information sharing. Out of that came the Isaac Network that is now run by the SBI, that ties directly to the feds, that when I was at the state, we linked in our criminal intelligence unit too, and our gang net unit. It's all about making that information get to the people that need it to get their job done. So whether it's going on in neighboring counties, I hope, Jim, that's not true, and I have no evidence of it. So I'm hoping they're talking.
Yeah, I wasn't implying that there was. I just wondered.
And I think,
But 9/11 is a perfect example.
It is
of what happens if you don't share information.
That's your results right there, buddy, and we can never go back to that. We always have to remind ourselves, because newer generation, the kids working in law enforcement today and in public safety firefighters, half of them weren't alive then.
Right.
Think about it.
Right.
That means we're getting old. Y'all are. I don't know about me. I'm not as old as you guys.
Oh, you're younger than we are.
So, but I think what the public can take some satisfaction in is, let's talk about our Invictus Task Force. You got 4 sheriffs tied to that right here in the central part of the state. Sheriff Johnson's in it. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough out of Forsyth County, and then 2 personal friends of mine that are sheriffs in Davidson and Randolph County. Randolph County Sheriff is Greg Seabolt, Davidson County Richie Simmons. Both of them retired highway patrolmen, did a bang-up job serving the state of North Carolina, and now are doing bang-up things in their community. And they were instrumental in getting this Invictus Task Force off. So that's all about information sharing. That's all about a tie back to the feds, through the state, and now into the local community. So I don't think we go back there. But I don't sense no animosity, but it's something we got to be aware of.
I asked our city manager to invite the Invictus Project to come and do a presentation to the council. So I think they're coming in March.
Most definitely.
So, because I mean, the more we get people aware of that, then the more people you've got that might come forward and say, okay, hey,
what program is that, Jim?
Invictus, child sex trafficking task force, with all the sheriffs getting together in our area. Yeah,
it's run through Homeland Security, and y'all to look it up. It's a great program. Watched it get off the ground. I was very tickled with the sheriffs that got involved in it. Like I said, 2 of them being former troopers, retired.
One of Hollywood's good friends, Tim Kennedy, did that in Texas, didn't
That's
he?
right. Yeah, he was part of the child trafficking thing.
Him and Matt.
Yeah.
And so Invictus is tied to that. Now this thing that come out of Texas is internet, IPC, the Interdiction for the Protection of Children, ties directly to that. So Invictus really, they're multifaceted, but a lot of their stuff is internet based. But this whole Interdiction for the Protection of Children is working these interstates and working these thoroughfares, back roads that are main thoroughfares that are actually taking it one step further and getting in front of it. And like I said, the Highway Patrol here is bought on, but it's a Texas Department of Public Safety.
Right, DPS.
They rolled it out, man, and it is here again. And I tell people this all the time. I'll tell you guys, when you ask me a question about recruiting and retention, sometimes it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's just somewhere in our great nation, through these networks that I have operated in, it's being done. You just got to ask the questions. You got to find out who's doing it. You got to go look at it. You got to get your eyes on it. You got to feel it. You got to make sure it works for you. And you know what? You bring it back here and you provide it to our citizens.
Yeah.
That's the key right there, I think.
It's just all, have everybody communicating. The more people you got talking to each other, the more information you're going to get, and the better chance you have of stopping something terrible from happening. And like these guys that are trafficking children and young girls and young boys as well. I mean, I'm one of those that if they're convicted, death penalty, and don't keep them in death row for months. I'd say there should be a law. They're out in 7 days.
Right.
They need to be handled in 7 days.
Right.
Yeah, why should we pay for that?
Well, it
pay for
shocks
their
the
upkeep?
conscience so bad. That's so outside the norm.
Yeah.
And that's a criminal intent, a criminal mindset that we, normal people like us can't. Well, you said Hollywood wasn't normal. Is he normal? Well, it's just we just can't.
He's sort of them death from above guys.
That's not a bad way, but and that, all joking aside, that's just something that our minds have a hard time comprehending, and we take that hardline approach. But still, our job to protect everybody, and our children are our most precious asset.
Right.
I talk about it a lot out in our communities. Two softest targets in any community: your churches and your schools, and we can never lose sight of those.
That's right.
And there's a whole lot of outreach programs can be done, especially with churches and church security. A lot of places are going to it. In our schools, I think we take the SRO program to a whole new level. Here again,
are they increasing the training of that for schools? I mean, has because of the things that have happened, has there been a more emphasis on training of SROs? And
I don't think they're. So we do have a new program that the sheriff and them started pushing it back. Started last year. Where they're doing some color coding in schools. Here's what I try to challenge people with. I'm a public safety guy, but law enforcement's my specialty piece of public safety. To me, public safety is a true, at the 30,000 foot view, a four-edge process. It's your law enforcement, your fire, your EMS, and your rescue. That's your four main entities that's got to work hand in hand. But to your point on school safety, we've got the law enforcement piece. I know how we're going to handle an active shooter situation in school. Right. But do we have our fire department with us in the joint training where they need to be? That's been the biggest complaint I've gotten from the fire departments. They don't feel like there's enough joint training, but I think they're getting there. So my problem is I'm not a patient guy. I want things done, but I have gotten better with time. But, you can't be patient on safety. You got to move.
Well, no, because if you're not patient on safety, if you are patient with safety, something's going to happen.
In the meantime, you're like, well, I hadn't made it to it yet. Well, you can't do that. And
that can't be an excuse.
Our firefighters and our EMS and our rescue people are some of the most passionate public safety folks out there. And they know when they get there, they got to know law enforcement's got their back, keeping them safe so they can do what they got to do, what their specialty is. And so I'm a joint, here again, you're going to hear me preach safety. I mean, safety and training. And you're going to hear me preach training and joint training. You guys did it in the military. You train across disciplines.
Across forces, Air Force and Navy.
That's right. And that's what makes us good, what we do on that level. You got to do the same thing in the public safety field in our communities.
Yeah. What about arming teachers?
Man, I'm a Second Amendment guy. You can get in a heavy debate on that thing now.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem if they have been properly
I'm not talking
vetted.
about forcing teachers to be armed.
Yeah.
But those that are willing
and capable,
right,
and can be and are trained, and
I think they got to be vetted, and they should be vetted if they're teaching. Train. I'm a big training guy. We're dealing with some things on some churches now that, I tell everybody, y'all understand it, but if I go into a church service at a church for a special event, there's a bunch of people I know that I recognize in there that I know are carrying concealed. But there's a lot of people that's probably carrying concealed I don't know. We have an incident happen. Fields of fire means something to me. It means something to you. It means something to you because y'all trained in it, right?
Right.
The public in carrying concealed don't train in those kind of things. And that's the most critical thing. Something happens you're in a big sanctuary, something happens in the northwest corner. Well, that's somebody's quadrant. Mine is to secure this to make sure there's not a copycat or a rear guard coming in to take it. That's all people say, well, that's so far-fetched.
No, it's
but
not.
No, but it's not.
No, it's not.
And the most difficult thing is you have people carrying concealed that are helping,
right?
And then law enforcement shows up,
and they
don't know who that guy with that gun is. They have no idea that he's a good guy.
That's right.
And they have to treat him as a threat first.
That's exactly
for their own safety.
Yeah.
And that's why I say about teachers, I think the training is key for them. They've got to be comfortable, make sure they're trained, and they have to maintain qualifications. I don't think you get it one time and you walk away and you're good for life.
And then you have to have a communication system that lets law enforcement know that there are 4 teachers at that school.
That's correct.
That are qualified and authorized to carry.
Who they are, pictures of them. And they should be good having a picture on my computer screen in my car that I know I got a visual going into that school on who I'm looking at. Updated. Hopefully it's updated every so often.
Yeah.
But I'm not against that. I think DPI gets a little squirrely on that. here again, I try to stay in my lane of travel, but I try to open these conversations up because they need to be talked about.
Yeah, and we've got that training center that opened up.
Oh yeah.
So we have the capability to introduce scenarios and stress-based scenarios to know how people are going to react.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the president of Durham Pistol and Rifle Club.
Oh, I did not know that.
We had before the training center was up. We had we've still got people coming, officers coming from Chapel Hill. The Veterans Administration sends their security force to train and qualify, and we had some sheepdog training there. We've had it for several years, and most of the instructors were SF guys coming from Fort Bragg on their day off. And they were coming doing it, and I got to meet one of them, and he called me after they had finished sheepdog, and he said, "Jim, my church elders have asked me if I would give them a class on concealed carry." And he said, "Would you mind if I use the range?" I said, "Hell no, you come on down. You just let me know when you want to be here."
Right.
And he came down, and there had to have been about 20 people there. And this probably 60, 70-year-old men out there. And he was just working them out and going through drills, and every one of them was just right on the money, just perfect.
That could not have happened without that community partnership that you provide through that range. And that's all. And that's what it's about. It's about the collaborative partnerships professionally, but in your community, you got to have them. And that's what makes us all, but if we don't talk about it, people don't know that exists. But I totally agree. Y'all familiar with Enduring Gratitude? I'm helping out with this week, and it's for veterans. It's coming up this coming Saturday. Some guys in my church, and some guys I work with professionally, Chuck Ward and Todd Kennedy, they've helped with it several years, and it brings veterans out down to the wildlife. I think it's the Wildlife Club we're going to next weekend. And it just, I didn't know if y'all knew about it when you brought it up. But anyway, move on. Ask me another question. Ask me something hard, Jim.
What do you want the people of Alamance County to know about you and about your wanting to be sheriff?
Okay. What I want them to know is that we have now got to quit focusing on today, and let's focus on the next 10 or 15 years. Guys, let's be honest. If we're all here in the next 25 years, all of us will be lucky to have outlived our life expectancy.
Right.
But I think everybody here has kids. I hope to have grandkids one day. And it's not leaving it for us. It's leaving it for the people behind us. Public safety is the core principle that I believe my government ought to provide its citizens. I want to leave it better than we found it. I'm the guy for it. I'm going to carry it forward. I'm going to build you out the infrastructure. We're going to be fast-paced. We're going to be up front. And we're going to bring some ideas. And we're going to bring the people in. And when I walk away, I will have you a succession plan behind me. I always tell people, you get a leader that sits in a seat too long, they become stagnant. And it's always funny. I listen to, you don't hear it much anymore. And I don't understand people running for Senate or House, either at the federal or state level. We're going to put term limits in. They don't talk about it once they get there. But when it comes to public safety, term limits are key. You always want fresh ideas, fresh thought. And it's my job as a sheriff, when I do walk away after having done a good job, to have a succession plan, not in one person, but that the community can pick between 2 or 3 different people. Let's be for real. The sheriff, first and foremost, is a public safety entity, but it's a political office. So you got to have somebody that can balance those two and never let politics.
It's unfortunate that it's a political office. Like when I ran the mayoral race in Graham, it's supposed to be nonpartisan municipal race. The Democrats got to scoot in there and screw all that up for everybody.
Yep.
Yes. And I'm sure the Republicans probably did it somewhere else too, but they certainly weren't there helping their people.
Well, I'm not a politician, never have been, never run for office. I understand it. I've worked in it my whole life. As y'all were in the military. It's politics in the military. There's politics everywhere, man. You sit back and you watch it and you realize I'm not going to be that guy. So that's what we got to make sure we keep out of that. But I'm your guy for the future, Hollywood. I'm the guy that's going to get it right, and I'm the guy that's going to leave it better than we found it. And I'm going to have you people behind me that's going to pick it up and run with it.
And the reason that you have to refresh, that you have to have maybe term limits in something like the sheriff, is because it's human nature. You can only fight for so long. Right. Let's say you're the perfect sheriff and you've been in for 10 years or 12 years. You've been fighting that battle and you get tired. Yeah. It's human nature. You can't help it but get tired of the politics that are going on, and you bang your head against a wall long enough, and you maybe start backing off from what you believe a little bit.
Well, you're going to get mentally, physically, and emotionally drained.
That's
It's
right.
going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't stand the fight for so long. It's not saying you don't. Your heart's not there. And I say that all the time. I say it's not your heart's not there, but mentally, you got to recognize your limitations.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. At 58, I'm not the guy I was at 25.
Right.
I'm not as quick on my feet physically and mentally astute. I'm still pretty strong up there, but I'm not what.
Right.
It takes me a few extra minutes now.
But your experience makes up for that, because you can't have a 25, 28-year-old doing it,
Right.
because they may have the enthusiasm and the energy. They don't have the experience.
Good point. That's that life experience that you bring to the table. So
You got a good support system.
well, I feel like I do. We've got a good team behind us.
I'm talking about family.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I've got a solid family,
Yeah, 'cause
and
that makes a huge difference too.
and you, I don't think you've ever heard me speak, but I speak to that. If it hadn't been for my wife being so instrumental in raising my son and standing behind me through my years, I'd have been in a lot of trouble. So yeah, I've got a great support
I'd be
system.
in jail right now if it wasn't for my wife.
I probably would have been in some. But any hard questions, man, you can throw them at me.
Honestly, I don't have any hard questions. I don't want to ambush people like that. I want them to be comfortable and know we're just going to ask them questions that I feel like the general public would want to know.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you, I don't mind being ambushed either. I've had some meet and greets that I've had that I don't know who's there. I know some of them. This morning was great, but I've been at a couple where I'm always waiting for that guy to come out of left field, and I've had him come out of left field. But here again, I'm confident in what I know and who I am, and what you see is what you get. I'm going to be who I am. I'm not going to be who I'm not, and I don't play those games.
I got it.
All right, put it on me.
ICE.
Yep.
Your thoughts on that?
So here's my deal. First and foremost, I had a question that we actually did a video on. You'll probably see it. They asked me, will you work with ICE? Well, first of all, I will never alienate and not work with any professional law enforcement entity that serves the same core function of protecting lives and property that I do. You can't say you're not going to work with it. If you do, then you're derelict in your duty.
That's right.
So point blank bottom line, ICE. I believe everybody should come to this country in a legal fashion. But the reality is we have a lot of people here that are here illegally.
Yep.
So and I'm not going to turn a blind eye to the law. Now, ICE, if they come into my community, this was a question that was asked, will you work with ICE? Yes, depending on the scope of the mission. I'll never not work with them, but if they come in and say, I need resources, what do you need them for? What's the scope of the mission? All right, military guys, scope of mission is important, what we do.
Yeah.
My scope of my mission when it comes to protecting lives and property is the people of Alamance County. Now, I'm not going to go down here to a flea market and sweep to get a bunch of illegal immigrants that are not posing, that I know of, have no credible evidence, intelligence, or data to support that they're causing a credible public safety threat.
Because there's enough people out there that are,
Yeah.
and that's where your attention should be.
That's right.
That are legal.
And when I pull that resource off of doing their duties for Alamance County citizens, I put them there. So I don't want to convolute this, but that's a loaded question. You come to me as an ICE entity and say, I've got 5 people right here, murderers, rapists, violent criminals, and we have intelligence. They're here. We're going to vet that intelligence, give you everything I got. If they're in my county, they're leaving. They're getting out of here. So yes, I will always work with every law enforcement entity in the essence of public safety. But just like going to the hospital, if you're in a bad car wreck, 5 of us in a bad car wreck, God forbid, we walk in that door to that hospital, they transport us in. They're going to triage us. They're going to prioritize
whoever needs help the most.
Right. So we got to prioritize in public safety.
Whoever's the most danger.
That's exactly right. Go get them. But we're going to work with every federal, state, and law enforcement agencies. That jail is open to federal, state, and local prisoners. But primarily, my job is to protect Alamance County. And people have to trust me to know that I'm vetting every mission set to know that what we're doing is in the best interest of Alamance County. Yeah. Do I ever see us getting back in a contract? I'm just going to hit right to that question too. I don't see it. I never understood the benefit of that contract to begin with.
What was that? We were a detention center or something?
287G is basically, because people get confused, and I tell them, Alamance County Sheriff's deputies are not ICE agents. ICE agents have a specific subset on their mission statement that supports the public safety mission that Alamance County deputies don't, but they had some arrest powers of ICE because we worked with them to facilitate that. But I think at the end we were a processing center, a holding point to then go to the next processing center. Yeah, I don't know. Here again, I have never seen data that supported that Alamance County has a crime, a hardcore crime element attached to illegal immigration. We do have cartels. We do have drug trade coming from cartels. We do have human trafficking trade coming from cartels. That does not necessarily mean they're all illegal in here illegally. It's a challenging piece. But ICE is somebody we're going to work with, like we do with the FBI, the DEA, the State Highway Patrol, the State Bureau of Investigation, North Carolina Alcohol Law Enforcement. You work with all law enforcement agencies for the betterment of our communities.
Were you in Graham during the shutdown? During the shutdown?
You talk about the
COVID?
unrest?
The COVID
stuff?
Yeah.
I've been
then we
there
had
since
the protest,
yes,
all that.
I was. So I was very involved in that. People don't realize that.
I'm sure you're familiar with the Sesquicentennial Park.
I am.
Debacle.
Yes.
It has been suggested that the reason some people want the park to stay, I'm not saying everybody, certainly not the citizens that have memorial bricks there or anything.
Right.
But that they want the park to stay because it's a protest spot, because we can't keep people from protesting there. And if there is a building there, a business, we can keep them from you can't block a business.
Right.
So they want to keep that park area because it's right there where we've got our statue at the courthouse. And that's a nice little spot for them to congregate.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but so first of all, you're going to have to understand I'm a critical independent thinker. That's not an answer to any protest to keep it there for that, because I was involved in those protests for the city of Graham. And let's break it down. Sheriff gets a lot of credit for protecting the monument during that time. What people realize, Graham Police Department had one hell of an operational plan that I know who designed it.
And not a lot of people. Graham's always been understaffed.
They've always been understaffed, but we used our resources. We called in Charlotte Mech Bike Crew. We called in, these are people I had developed through my time at the state with the FBI National Academy Associates and working rights for the state and mass crowd control. The Sheriff's Department had the courthouse, the main entity for the county property. We had the streets of the city of Graham. And we don't stand up and beat our chest. We don't say, hey, we protected this. We were very clear. Operational plan was solid. I know who developed it. I know how they trained on it. I was involved in that piece. We worked with the city officials on it. We had a solid plan. And I'll just tell you that if they want to keep that park for somebody to protest, we ain't had a protest since 2020. Yeah. So guess what? What we did worked. So I don't know where your stance is on it. That's y'all's. I'm not a citizen of Graham. I'm a county citizen.
People's right.
Right.
I mean, I have my personal opinion, but as far as a city councilman, that's their right.
So I don't necessarily.
It's peaceful.
Right. Peaceful being the key, and we being prepared. And we have to remember this too. People from outside of our county came in.
Yeah, that's the majority of it.
That's right. And we knew that too because intelligence was feeding us. Keeping a park open to give them a place to protest is, number one, we don't have evidence to support that's going to happen again. And if it does, I have all faith in our elected officials and in that police department in Graham, and I have all faith in those sheriff's deputies that operational plan is going to be as solid and as sound as it was then.
Yeah.
And as long as people act professionally and peacefully, we don't have a problem.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard that. I would say, man, that's not the way I would look at that. You just got to know what you're good at, have the right people in the right seat. Leadership is about putting the right people in the right seat to do the job. Give them the tools they need to do it and support them in that process. You do that, we're going to be fine. So Graham and Alamance County solid in that area. They hadn't come back for a reason. They hit a lot of other communities because they gave a little bit. Our rules was clear. We had a process. You have every legal right to protest peacefully. And if you break these boundaries, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. We were very clear. And I'm about communication.
There you go.
Well, Billy, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Hollywood, I enjoyed it, man.
It was awesome.
I don't care what they said about you at the coffee shop this morning.
That's all right.
This back table back there was on you.
Yeah, I know. It's probably led by his daughter.
So I'll tell you, but this has been great, guys. I'd love to come back sometime.
No, we'll
man.
have you back.
After the
welcome
After you
election.
win,
Yeah, after we win, I'll
we'll
come
have
back
you back.
once again.
All right.
I think we can solve some community problems right here.
There you go.
All right.
Hey, I'm Jim.
I'm Hollywood, and this is whoa. I'm going to give this cigar a 10.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a 10. Hooten Young is
I mean,
all 10s.
it's the best Robusto size cigar I've smoked in a long
Yeah,
time.
that's- that box press is not. And I
it
don't
was-
like
it was-
box press.
It was exactly how it was described.
Yeah.
I mean,
Perfect.
So
this has been
the
Smoked
Smoked
Debrief
with
Billy Clayton, candidate for sheriff, Alamance County.
Candidate for
Republican
sheriff.
candidate.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Early
buddy.
voting's
Enjoyed it,
going
man.
on right now.
Yeah, please go out.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all, man. This is fun. Man, you didn't hit me on the hard stuff.
Sorry.